Welcome to part 4 of our relocation series. This is the last and final section where we're going to discuss, very importantly, the economics and the numbers within the Miami real estate market and what it means to you to be relocating. So I'm sitting here on the sofa with Chris Buzzolin to my left, our operations director, and also the agent who handles up our Pinecrest and Palmetto Bay market. To my right, I have Stefania Cambarao, who's our South of Fifth and Miami Beach agent and expert. And with these ladies, we are going to answer those key questions that you need to know as a relocation. What are the numbers? Should you buy? Should you rent? What is the state of the economy? Is it a good time to buy? And what do you need to pay attention to?
Well, David, as you were saying, one of the most frequent questions that we get it from relocation families are, should I buy or should I rent? What do you think?
Yeah, so this morning I had exactly that question that was posed to me by a relocation family from Dubai, and the question, as everyone says, is it the right time to buy? Now, the thing you have to know about Miami, which we're all very aware of, is that Miami is a city of at least 10 to 12 different neighborhoods, 5 different price points, and condos and houses. So if you really want to break that down, you're probably looking 78 to 80 different markets. And there is no simple answer to that question. It really just depends on which neighborhood you want to live in. Mm-hmm. Now, there are neighborhoods where if you break down the cost of living, you'll find that rentals are more suitable. Other neighborhoods, you'll find that buying is more suitable. But one thing's for sure, relocation generally for families is they're going to focus ultimately on buying. It's very important that wherever you live to start with, you live in the neighborhood that you are going to want to be living in more permanently to get acclimated to the neighborhood. If you're a family, however, and you're moving here with your kids being educated in the schools, what you might find is that neighborhoods like Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, Pinecrest, and even as you move up to Miami Beach, there's not that many single family homes available for rent. And those that are, generally speaking, are nowhere near the same condition as those that are for sale. Simply put, if you have a really beautiful home, you're not going to want to be renting it out, just because it'll get worn and torn much quicker. I will certainly tell you that in terms of cost of living, we'll tell you that homes, as people relocate, neighborhoods such as the Grove and the Gables, you might be looking at $450 to $550 a square foot. On Miami Beach, Steph, we're looking at somewhere between $600 and $800 for good homes.
Yes.
And down in Pinecrest, actually the other direction, you can get anywhere from $300 to $450. Is that about right?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you look through our reports, you'll see a lot of the data, a lot of the information. You need to get a little granular, and that's the reason that we have these highly detailed optics on our markets, where we have the Neighborhood Economic Health Score, which is our first indicator that you really want to understand the strength and the health of those markets. But it's not until we drill down property by property can we really tell you whether something's suitable to rent or suitable to buy.
David, I wanted to ask you this question. You have handled several big relocation in this past year. What are the metrics that you've used to empower the buyer to make such a big decision for themselves, their family, and their companies?
Well, companies, as we know, are really big decision-making processes because there's so many people involved and there's so much money involved and at stake when you're moving an entire company. From the smallest person to the biggest person, and essentially the metrics, which are those economic indicators or those analytical tools that we've used to measure the market. What we've done, which is a little bit different to everyone else, is we've shied away from the general information, what I call production line information, which is talking about an entire city and just giving a general average dollar per square foot. We don't believe is very helpful at all. So what we've done is, in our models, we've broken down each neighborhood by price point, very specifically, because each price point behaves differently. And then we further subdivided by houses and condos, and then we further subdivided by specific types of product within those houses or condos. So if it's a house, it could be a waterfront, gated, it could be a new house. So we've taken the data that's come from there, and then what we've done is we've created several analysis tools that help us understand where the market's going and what they should be buying. So of course, first one is the supply-demand ratio, months of inventory, which we've used, and we combine it with the ratio between two other indicators, which is the asking price to sales price, so the percentage difference. And then the third one, which is less commonly understood, how many rentals are happening with the neighborhood and how many sales are happening within a neighborhood. That's really important, because if you're relocating, firstly, you need to know that neighborhoods that are primary neighborhoods, which are essentially driven by people who live all year round at those locations, are far more robust, far healthier than the condo markets. The other thing is just the quality of life in the primary markets is considered to be generally much better. Why? Because there's a sense of community, there's a sense of protection and quality, and just generally the level of product within those markets is superior. So it makes for a more robust economy, it makes for a better living experience. Now, on top of that, we've looked at some of the more granular pieces of information that have come out into the market to understand how those neighborhoods are performing. We've looked at how many days on the market properties have been before they've sold, and when they have sold, what dollar per square foot was achieved relative to the averages in the market. So we've created some three-dimensional models. Long-term investment perspective that we ultimately end up coming to in conversation with relocation buyers, and in fact any buyer, is where we are in the economic cycle. And when we track back 10 years, we can look, and actually beyond 10 years, we can look and we can see the economic peaks and troughs of the market. Now, once we're over the top of a cycle, we can actually look back and say to a client, this is the price point that we believe you should be paying at. This is what we call a balance within the market. So there's a point where we know the market is performing well, and if we are beyond that point, if we're out of the threshold where dollar per square foot is too high, inventory is too high, then we're going to advise clients exactly the right number. Long story short, if you're coming to buy and relocate, and this is a long-term plan for you, we will be able to show you on the economic cycle exactly where we are and exactly the right price point, so that if you're on the down part of the cycle, you can rise it up on the other end.